Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure, trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @Pless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach to trading. First of all, I believe options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, and SPY is the ETF version of that index, and ES is a derivative of SPX. So when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the Nasdaq 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the ETF version of that index, and NQ is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow on Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. For example, the S&P 500. Setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Suzette, Stephen, welcome, glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Monday, March 25th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events. There was nothing today, so upcoming for the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's start with news items. So again, nothing, no high impact data today or events. Tomorrow, durable goods. That data release is 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and then consumer confidence out at 10 a.m. Then on Thursday, GDP report comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then 10 a.m. Michigan consumer sentiment. There is some data and events on Friday, but it is a market holiday. I'm sure the futures market will be open up probably until 1 p.m. Eastern Time, but the stock market is closed on Friday for the Good Friday holiday. But anyway, the data coming out on Friday, PCE data, that's normally a market mover at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and then Jerome Powell will be speaking at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So could move the futures, but again, that's a stock market holiday. All right, let's move on to positional analysis now. I'm going to start with the SP 500. This is the ES futures in Bookmap. Nothing going on here, but let's take a look at it. All right, so let's, I'm going to, again, this is the ES futures and Bookmap, and I'm going to start by looking at a higher time frame, and I'm going to go to the underlying index. That's the SPX index for the SP 500. Whoops, wrong chart, sorry. We'll get to that one in just a minute. Let's start with a one-day chart. So this is, again, SPX one-day chart. Current rally began last year, October 30th. Since then, SPX has rallied up about 1,150 points. And during this year, the SPX call wall has moved up from 4,800 to 5,300 today. Let's take a look at that now. So let's go back to that. That was a one-day chart. Now let's go to an SPX 1 hour chart. This is a 30-day 1 hour chart. Green line, this is showing the upper end of that trend line that began in October, high 5261. All right, again, the call wall has moved up, more about that in just a minute, from 4,800 around the beginning of the year up to 5,300 today. All right, let me point out the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market. This is also based on the closing price for SPX last Friday. Those levels remain in place for the entire week. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. Also based on the options market, based on the closing price last Friday. I update those levels every day based on the closing price of the previous day. And I do post those levels in the Options-Doug chat channel and Bookmap Discord every evening. All right, so SPX trading inside both of those ranges. The other lines on this chart are Spotgamma levels. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They're based on gamma-weighted open interest. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 4,800. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. And if you recall from Friday, the levels, to me, seemed quite strange and really didn't line up with the absolute gamma levels. So it looks like that has been straightened out now. I know Spotgamma was having an issue with a data provider last week. So it looks like the levels, the gamma levels for SPX have been the gamma levels for SPX have been corrected and more appropriate now today. So it looks like that issue has been resolved. All right, so that's the put wall. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma can be expected to act as support. And that did move lower from those levels on Friday. All right, the next level up is 5,000. That's a strike with the largest net positive, absolute positive and negative gamma. And if you recall, last Friday I talked about it looked like 5,000 was the absolute gamma strike. So again, that level has been resolved. Lower from Friday, the level that I was not sure about. So again, that's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 5190. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to edge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And note that SPX is trading above its volatility trigger. And then finally, the call wall that I mentioned before has moved up to 5,300. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma, and that can be expected to act as resistance. So now the potential floor for price at the put wall at 4,800 and the potential ceiling for price at 5,300. So again, the put wall, the volatility trigger, put wall, and absolute gamma strike all move lower, and the call wall moved higher. So going from that very narrow range on Friday to a much wider range. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1 minute chart. So this is SPX. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit. So this is showing about a half day's worth of price action on Friday, and then the price action today. Very narrow consolidation today. Not much to see here. All right, let's go to Bookmap now. So again, this is the ES futures in Bookmap, and I like to show SPY and SPX levels on this chart. I use my own cloud notes. So I can show SPY levels and SPX levels again. This is an SPX level that was not shown on the previous chart. That was noted as a support level in the Spotgamma AM Founders note. And I do mark those levels on my chart. Note that it did act as resistance earlier today, somewhat support, and now support. So resistance earlier in the day and now support. And again, that is SPX 5224, noted as support in the Spotgamma AM Founders note. Also note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. Earlier today, that difference in price, when I checked it, was about 58 points. So the ES to SPX offset, again, was right around 58 points. It may be closer to 59 now. So I'm showing SPX 5224 at ES 5282. I also have SPY levels on this chart. There's the SPY 520 absolute gamma strike. And for SPY, there were a couple shifts in levels. The put wall moved lower and the call wall moved higher, just like the SPX. So the call wall for SPY has moved up to 525, and the call wall again for SPX up at 5,300. So based on that, the S&P 500 does have room to move higher. All right, so again, a very narrow range today, trading within, this is a 10-point range. SPY 520 to 521, it's about a 10-point range, very narrow range. Much better opportunities for trades and stocks today, I thought. All right, let's move on to Nasdaq. This is the NQ futures and Bookmap. A little bit more movement here in Nasdaq today. So before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a quick look at the underlying index charts. This is QQQ. Showing in a 1-minute chart. So this is price action for today. The dark shaded area. And for QQQ 445, That's the 0 gamma level. That's also the absolute gamma strike. And then 446 is the volatility trigger. Let me zoom back out. Note that that 446 level did act as resistance earlier today before the cash opened, somewhere around 4:35 a.m. So now QQQ back up to that level and finding some support at that 445 level, absolute gamma strike, 0 gamma level. All right, so that's QQQ. Let's take a look at NDX. Need to zoom in here. So gap down, then moving higher. No spot gamma levels in play for today for NDX. All right, back to NQ. So just like the S&P 500, I have my own cloud notes. There's the QQQ 445 level acting as support. And note that NQ did trade down below its lower daily expected move earlier today. Aggressive buyers came in. More about that in a little bit. 444 acting as support. And note the point of control is just above the 445 level. That's that dark purple line there, the solid purple line. Also, you can just see all the volume concentrated. Most of the volume concentrated around the up and down around the 445 level, and some concentrated up and down around the 444 level. All right, shifts in levels for the Nasdaq. No shifts in levels for NDX. And then for QQQ, just like SPY and SPX, the put wall shifted lower and the call wall shifted higher. So the call wall for QQQ is at 454. So according to that, the Nasdaq has room to move higher. All right, the absolute gamma strike did move lower for QQQ down to 445. All right, so a good move in the morning and then a lot of chop around the 445 level. All right, normally I take a look at gamma notional. Really nothing to see there. Gamma notional still slightly positive for SPX, slightly negative for SPY. Both those levels did move lower, and then both slightly positive for NDX and QQQ, and both those levels did move higher. So not much to see there. All right, let's move on to some setups. So I'm going to start with the SP 500. All right, so based on the shifts in levels, they were really mixed. I would say overall slightly bearish, but that often all depends on what options traders are doing today, and they were buying the dip earlier today. All right, so let's move on. So the levels that we just looked at, that's based on static data. Spotgamma takes open interest data that's updated once a day from the OCC. They take that, they apply their algorithms to come up the levels. I do watch the shifts in levels every day. That gives me an idea of the sentiment, how traders are positioned in the options market, whether they are looking for and expecting and positioning themselves for higher prices or lower prices. All right, so again, a mixed picture, but slightly bearish. Neutral, I would say neutral to bearish for both the S&P 500 and Nasdaq. All right, so now let's move on to real-time data, to the execution part of my process. So again, the first thing I want to do is take a look at what options traders are doing today. All right, so this is the hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. What this chart is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity in real time for a combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So if you trade any form of the S&P 500, this is a signal that you want to take a look at. The lines on this chart, first, the white line is price for SPX, and the purple line is the hero signal. Again, HIRO, hedging impact real-time options. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. A rising hero signal indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. Rising hero signal, they're buying calls and or selling puts. A falling hero signal indicates they are taking negative delta positions. They are buying puts and or selling calls. All right, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I want to focus on what was happening in the morning. So from the open, traders were taking positive delta positions. They took a brief pause. SPX pulled back. Another pause. SPX pulled back. So three legs higher as traders were taking positive delta positions. Then finally around 10:15, they took their foot off the gas and price consolidated. All right, so the best move for the S&P 500 from the open, long entry at 9:45 or 10:05. So let's go back to Bookmap. Let's zoom in on this. All right, here's the first leg higher, right at the cash open. Traders take positive delta positions, and the S&P 500 moves higher. So again, remember when traders are buying calls, for example, in SPX and SPY, market makers that take the opposite side of those trades, and they're buying ES futures to hedge their delta exposure. First leg higher, consolidation and resistance at the 52.24 level. Second leg higher, the volume dots in Bookmap are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots are showing more sellers than buyers. Green volume dots show more buyers than sellers. You can see on the way down all the aggressive sellers. Cumulative volume delta shown with a dark blue line to magenta line moves lower. Cumulative volume delta reverses higher as aggressive buyers come in, and the S&P 500 moves right back up to that 52.24 level. And again, remember, so the first wave up, second wave up, options traders take their foot off the gas, put their foot on the gas again, and price moves up toward the 521 level. CVD rising. Also note the rising yellow line indicating buy stop orders help to fuel that move higher. Aggressive sellers start to come in, and then price moves lower. as options traders take their foot off the gas. All right, so 3 waves move higher in the S&P 500. Zoom out. Then a lot of chop after that. So the S&P 500 has really not made any progress or much progress above that 5224 level. All right, let's take a look at Nasdaq. All right, so this is the NQ futures and Bookmap. Let's go back to Hero to see what options traders are doing. Excuse me. All right, for Nasdaq, I like to take a look at this MAG 7 signal. Let me show you what this is. This is another combined signal showing options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, NVDA, and Tesla. All right, let me zoom. I'm going to go zoom back in. So here is the signal. Initially, Hero moving lower. Then the Hero signal shifts sharply higher. Right around 9:45, traders start taking positive delta positions and price moves higher. And note, as they took their foot off the gas, price consolidates. All right, let's go take a look at Nasdaq. NQ futures. Zoom in. All right, so right around 9:45, that's when options traders started taking positive delta positions in the MAG 7 stocks. Looking at order flow here, you can see the aggressive sellers on the way down, the magenta volume dots. Aggressive buyers start to come in. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise as price moves higher. Buy stop orders fuel the move higher up to and above the 445 level, and then price has been consolidating. And aggressive buyers all the way up. 1 leg higher, 2 legs higher, 3 legs higher. As traders were taking positive delta positions in the MAG 7 stocks. All right, let's go back. Go back to Hero. Well, it looks like Nasdaq may be now trying to make it up to the 446 volatility trigger. Or let's go back to Hero. I'm going to change this out to puts and calls. See if we can get some insight. I'm going to have to jump back. All right, the reason I'm doing that, there's an issue with auto zoom that occurs when you shift from total to put/call and back. And I checked with Spotgamma yesterday. They have not been able to resolve this. So it is still an issue. There are a couple of workarounds, just like I did. You can jump back and forth. So again, this is still an issue, has not been resolved. All right, so we can see in this morning, traders started buying calls. That's shown by the rising orange line. And they're also selling puts, shown by the rising blue line. So the direction of lines is in terms of delta. options delta. All right, so again, rising orange line, traders are buying calls. When traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And the same when they sell puts. All right, so again, around 10:20, they took the foot off the gas, and price has been consolidating. Then around 12:15, looks like they may be starting to buy a few calls again and sell puts. Nasdaq gradually moving higher. All right, let's take a look at some single stocks. Does anyone have any questions? I'll be glad to answer. All right, the first stock I want to take a look at is Amazon. This is what's so nice about single stocks. There's a lot of clarity from Hero typically. So from the open, traders are buying calls in Amazon. Note 180 is the call wall. So traders are buying calls, market makers sell the calls. They have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. And as Amazon broke above the 180 call wall, the call buyers took their foot off the gas. They've also been selling puts today. So both the blue line and orange line moving up. Notional value positive for both. So they're buying calls and selling puts today in Amazon. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So there's that very bullish move higher in Amazon in the morning. Aggressive buyers on the way up. Remember, 180 is the call wall. Some aggressive sellers starting to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots. Options traders take the foot off the gas, and Amazon moves lower or consolidates right around the 180 level. All right, so it looks like Amazon made it almost to the 181 level, and that's absorption at that level. Note the shading. This is the heat map in Bookmap, is showing a history of the limit orders. This is very typical for a stock. Traders will place these orders right at the cash open, and they'll keep the orders in place until they're filled. So it looks like the limit sell orders at 180 above price limit sell orders were filled, and price moved higher. They were consumed and then absorbed at the 180 level, 181 level. All right, that's Amazon. Note also the rising cumulative volume delta here in Amazon. All right, one thing I want to mention about, I normally trade mostly large cap tech stocks. You can see them right here. That's the Mag 7 stocks plus AMD. There was quite a bit of negative, or what you would assume was bearish news this morning. First of all, for AMD, there was news that China was phasing out Intel and AMD processors, I guess in favor of homegrown processors. Also, Tesla got another downgrade today, and then more investigation, government, and this from the EU investigation probe into Apple, Meta, and Google. So the assumption that is that all that news was bearish and not so much. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD, very bullish price action, just the opposite of what you would expect with that news about China. So it was down pretty substantially, I think around 6% before the cash opened. And the dip buyers definitely came in, taking advantage of that move lower to buy AMD. You can see all the green volume dots here. Aggressive buyers, few pullback entries. Let's see what options traders are doing. All right, so kind of a mixed picture here. So again, remember the orange line is calls. So when I saw this, I was thinking short. So I actually took a short. It really didn't go my way, obviously. So I was able to wiggle out for a very small gain on that. So it just goes to show you, you need to pay attention to order flow, hedging flow, price action, trends, rather than the news. So I learned my lesson this morning. I was able to wiggle out for a small gain. All right, so that's AMD. Let's take a look at the total signal here to see if we get any more clarity. So that's a little bit more clear. I'm going to have to jump back. So after that initial move lower, the hero signal started moving up again. Another move lower, but still a higher low. Hero moved up. And then right around 11:30, options traders have taken their foot off the gas and price is consolidating. And note that 180 is the key gamma strike. Let's go back to Bookmap. Let's move on to NVDA. Let's go back to Hero. I'm going to shift to puts and calls. Go to NVIDIA. Let's zoom in. So this was really, I thought, the best trade of the day. NVIDIA is heavily driven by options trades, and especially call buyers. Let me see if I can find something. Well, actually, we can go look at, well, let me see if I can find the chart. Give me just a moment. So I was looking for a hero chart from Friday. As I recall, the value for calls was quite high. We can actually check it here. So let's go back. Let's take a look at Friday. So this is the hero signal from last Friday. Very bullish. I'm not sure what that was. Let's zoom in. All right, so this is at the close, essentially. Notional value for calls. This is on Friday again. This is very bullish. 3 billion, over 3 billion delta notional value for calls for one single stock. that number would be large for the S&P 500. Also, they were selling puts. So again, this is very bullish on Friday. So keeping that in mind for today, and also, let's look at, this is all expiry. So compare the calls. The green line is showing options trades, calls that expired on Friday versus all expirations shown with the orange line. So that's all expirations. That is options that expired on Friday. So a large portion of this trading on Friday was longer term calls. So traders were longer term bullish on Friday. All right, so let's go back to today. And we'll go to today. All right, so earlier today, traders were buying calls again. Took their foot off the gas about 10:20. So they were buying calls and selling puts. Took their foot off the gas after that move higher. And now NVDA has been consolidating, starting to move higher again as traders are starting to sell puts and buying calls again. So the call sellers took their foot off the gas. NVIDIA starts to move higher as they're selling puts and starting to buy calls again. Let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so there's that move higher. Breakout above VWAP after a test of the 935 level. Quick move up to 965. 30-point move higher. Price consolidates as options traders take the foot off the gas, now moving higher again. And note during the day, there have been a lot of aggressive buyers all day, rising cumulative volume delta. Also, you can just see all the green volume dots coming in. Pull back there, just below 950, aggressive buyers coming in. Not many magenta volume dots to see after this reversal higher. Looks like NVIDIA's heading back up to the liquidity at 965 to 970. Again, these dark shaded areas, that's the history of the limit orders in the order book. They're showing limit sell orders above price, and those orders tend to act as a magnet for price. All right, so very good trade here in NVIDIA. And let's take a look at Tesla. All right, so this is how Tesla reacted to another downgrade. Quick move up from 169 to 174. Actually, maybe even higher. Let's see. For some reason, Bookmap, no, at all the way to 175. So 6-point move higher, right from the cash open. You can see all the green volume dots. Aggressive buyers. Sharply rising cumulative volume delta. Let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to Tesla. Zoom in on this a bit. All right, so from the open, traders were buying calls. Tesla broke out above the 172.50 call wall. Then right around 940, options traders started selling calls. they were still selling puts. Then right around 10:05, they started buying puts while they were selling calls. So it looks like to me that the call buyers and sellers really have been driving price in Tesla today. All right, so quick move higher, reversal lower, and then now Tesla's grinding higher. Note here, from about 10:45, blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. That's a powerful directional indicator. So now Tesla trying to recover the 172.50 call wall. It looks like it might be right above that. That's this line right here. It may be difficult to see. That line right there, that's the 172.50 call wall. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So here it's not shown on this chart. There's the 172.50 call wall. So some consolidation around that level, and now Tesla trying to move higher. All right, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Suzette says, very instructive. Thank you, Doug. You're welcome, and thank you very much for your kind words. And you're welcome, Michael, as well. All right, does anyone have any questions, any stocks you want me to take a look at? I'll be glad to do that. All right, so the S&P 500 trying to move higher. Nasdaq slowly made it up to the 446 level, now above the QQQ volatility trigger. All right, Michael, let's go back to ES. So ES, here it is, right around 115. Another test of the 52.24 level. Aggressive buyers start to come in, shown by the green volume dots. Cumulative volume delta starts to rise, and as price moves higher, buy stop orders start to feel the move higher, shown by the rising yellow line on the subchart as well as the on-chart indicator. We can go back to the S&P 500 hero signal, see what options traders are doing. Let me zoom in on this just a little bit so we can see this more clearly. Mini test of the 52.24 level before the S&P 500 starts to move higher. Moving up about 5 points in an hour. Not really something that I like to trade. All right, let's check S&P 500 hero signal. I'm going to go back to the total. So finally, the hero signal. I'm going to jump back. You can get more clarity by just zooming in. I'm just scrolling my mouse wheel. So just right around 1350, traders start taking positive delta positions. And now the S&P 500 starts to move higher. It looks like this was that's the final test of the 52.24 level. And options traders start taking positive delta positions after that final test, and now the S&P 500 moving higher. I'm going to close full screen, see if there are any alerts. That's the most recent alert. So these alerts signal significant options activity. This is for NVDA. And I use these alerts to get my attention that something is going on, and they often are provide very good signals. So this flow alert comes in in the morning after price starts to move higher aggressively. Traders taking again buying calls, selling puts, and the signal comes in again, the hero signal. Let's see when this was. Right around 140, just before the hero signal really starts to jump higher. Let's zoom in on this just a bit. All right, so in NVDA, options traders started taking positive delta positions just after 110, 115. Price started to move higher. Let's go back to NVIDIA. All right, there's that. There's a pullback entry as traders started taking positive delta positions. Pull back to 950. Now NVIDIA trading up above 960. Again, heading up toward that, looks like maybe heading up toward that liquidity between 965 and 970. Looks like that liquidity is in at every round number, again from 960 to 970 with the exception of just a little bit at 969. Let's go back to Hero. Another thing we can do is rank hero signal. Take a look at the strongest hero signals. There's Tesla, big jump higher in Tesla. Zoom in on this. Looks like some large block orders coming in to Tesla. Whoops, wrong tool. We can figure out what they are. So put sellers. I'm going to have to jump. There's the Nasdaq signal. And the Nasdaq, they are buying calls and buying puts. Let's go back to Tesla. So large put seller right at 2 o'clock. Let's go take a look at Tesla in the Bookmap. All right, JLo asked, does Spotgamma have 0 DTE gamma levels? Yes. Well, Hero shows 0 DTE options trades. I'm not sure if that's what you mean. But the levels are based on open interest data that's updated once a day. So that may be changing today, but the levels won't be available until tomorrow. But the options trades are available for 0 DTE. All right, so let's take a look. I'm going to go back to total, go to the S&P 500. All right, for the stocks have, single stocks have options, most have stock options that expire once a week, the weeklies. So what Spotgamma Hero is showing is all trades, so that's all expirations, and then next expiry. So for a stock like NVIDIA or Tesla, that would be options that expire this Friday. And for the S&P 500, that would be options that expire today. And so the all trades, that's shown with the purple hero signal, and the green line or the teal line is showing options that expire today. These numbers are almost identical. So what this is indicating is that almost 100% of the options trades that are taking place today are in options that expire at the end of the day. All right, so J-Lo, I'm not sure what you mean, but this is showing in Hero, it does have, again, options trades that expire today, shown on the green or the teal line, and the purple signal is showing all expirations. All right, so J-Lo, I hope that answers your question. All right, so this is, I don't really base any trades on this, but this is interesting information, indicating again the almost 100% of the options trades today so far are zero DTE trades. I mean, these numbers are almost identical. The green or the teal, 2.53 billion, and the purple was 2.52 billion. And we can take a look at a stock like NVDA. So what this is showing is all expirations, again with the purple, and then options that expire today, Friday. So for a single stock, again, these are options. Next expiry would be next Friday. So again, for NVIDIA here, a lot of the options trades for today are options that expire Friday. That was opposed to last Friday where traders were taking longer term options positions. All right, last call for stocks. Let's turn this off. So J-Lo, thanks for your question. Thanks for bringing that up. That's always interesting to take a look at. Let's go take a look at NVIDIA and Bookmap, see how stock price is reacting to this move lower in Hero. Go back to NVIDIA. Notice how all of the aggressive buying seems to have dried up. Big green volume dots getting smaller, some exhaustion, then some aggressive sellers start to come in. As traders, options traders, have now shifted to negative delta positions. This could just be a pullback on the way up to 965 to 970, or it could be a little bit of something more. Let's go take a look at Hero. Take a look at Mag 7. Also shifting lower, could just be a pullback. S&P 500 really continues to grind higher. See what AMD is doing. Hero signal pretty flat. Now rolling over a little bit. Let's go back to NVIDIA. All right, JLo says basically gamma levels activity. So let's separate gamma levels from the hero signal. So remember the gamma levels. When I'm talking about the gamma levels, that's based on static data that's updated once a day. That's based on open interest data. So all the levels on the chart that I was looking at on the S&P 500 and Nasdaq chart are based on gamma weighted open interest. That comes from last Friday. So that's what I use in my pre-market planning, the positional analysis. So that's my planning process. Then I shift over to looking at real-time data. So the hero signal, again, this is real-time now, showing what options traders are doing today. And then based on what the options traders are doing today, those levels may shift higher or lower. So this, and then this, whatever options traders are doing today will have an impact on the levels tomorrow. And as we saw, there was quite a bit of activity in zero DTE options that may not have much of an impact on the gamma levels. J.F. Benoit says, sorry I'm late. All right, so I'm actually going to end right now. JF also says Chinese restrictions on chips seem to keep prices low. I don't know, I talked about AMD before. Didn't seem to have much of an impact on AMD here. With China, the news that China was phasing out AMD and Intel chips. All right, so maybe it did on Intel, but AMD is really an AI play. All right, so JF, this will be re-recorded. The recording should be available immediately after I wrap it up today. All right, everyone, I am going to wrap it up. My time is up. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments. Again, remember, JF, the recording will be available immediately after I wrap this up. So thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. And remember, tomorrow, durable goods orders at 8:30, consumer confidence 10, and we'll talk about it tomorrow afternoon. All right, thanks, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye.